Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. What's going on, guys? This is a very interesting episode. We have a big shout out to Fox 13 News Utah. I don't know about any, affiliates with a major network that is asking these type of questions, but they were investigating into the whole incident with Charlie Kirk, and they were requesting documents. And it turns out they actually got some documents. And these documents are missing a very, very important question. This right here. I'm going to get into the video in a second, but this right here, this is thing number one, police or security. Apparently, this question was left off of their document, okay? And apparently, this is always a question that is asked because it's such a vital question. You need to know this type of thing, especially for big events. And then the second thing that is really, really telling about what's going on is that the police department in charge of the investigation has denied access to the security plan that was put in place that day. Now, we're going to talk about that a little later. Let me play this clip first, and then I'm going to play a clip from Sabby Sabs, actually. Sabrina is her name, because she has extensive experience working at universities. So her opinion is actually amazing right now. So let's play this, and then we'll get over to her.
Utah Valley University has provided the document that created the rally at which conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot to death, but it is not providing the security plan for that day. I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. We've been asking UVU for records related to the September 10th Kirk rally. After about 6 weeks, this is the first record provided. It's the application submitted mid-July by the UVU chapter of Kirk's Turning Point USA. The applicants answer standard questions about time, place, and a description of the event. However, we noticed there is one question not asked on the form, whether organizers need any police protection. That's a standard inquiry at, for example, University of Utah events. Speaking of police, UVU has denied Fox 13 News' request for a copy of the Kirk Rally Security Plan. The university is citing the provision in state records laws keeping confidential, quote, security measures, end quote.
Guys, listen. The glasses just broke. Listen, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Turn on your notifications. Please, that is all I ask of you guys. There's so many of you that are not subscribed. Please subscribe, especially because, eventually they're going to catch on to this Philadelphia stuff. They're going to catch on eventually. They're going to figure out what I'm actually saying. Need your help before that happens, okay? All right? Subscribe. I'm out of here. So, it's very odd that that this is what they're doing, right? Going back to this question right here. Now, what came to mind as this was playing for me was this left off of their form, or did they just give them, because they were requesting, files, documents, they're not getting the originals. So did they request something and this is just what they got? And they left that question off because, let me tell you something, how we would all react if we found out that this document actually had this question and they checked off no. How crazy would that be for everybody? How many more videos would be made? How many more accusations would be made? It just makes me think, since it seems like Utah is a kind of stick together kind of place, it makes me just wonder if that's what they're doing in this case. Not really sure. And then when it comes to this, just denying the plan, the thing about it is, there probably wasn't a security plan put in place. And I've already shown you what the roof looks like. There's a walkway, a long walkway, or a set of stairs. And then you get to a railing that is 3, maybe less than 3 feet tall. You step over it and you're on the roof. So if we know it was that simple to get on the roof, pointing directly at Charlie, it's probably safe to say there wasn't much of a plan in place. I honestly think these guys went into it like they go into everything, every event that they do with Charlie when it comes to setting up the tent. And they just said, okay, be around Charlie, because what's the most you think is going to happen to Charlie? What's the most that has happened to him throughout, not even just him, just people in general? What's the thing that they do the most? They flip the desk, they lunge at somebody, they throw coffee. These are the things that you see happen at Turning Point. It seems like the security team was only prepared for that type of thing, and they didn't reach out enough and request enough backup, enough police, whatever you want to say. You know, I've talked about this extensively, just sheer incompetence, in my opinion. But let me go back to the video here, play the rest of it.
The campus also has expressed concern that the records could interfere in any investigation and someone's right to a fair trial.
I really don't understand how that could be. How could it interfere with an investigation? Like, what could you say? Right? Because think about it. It depends whose side you're on, I guess. If you're on the prosecution side, if you're on Charlie's side, then if you show the security plan and the security didn't have much of a plan, like I was just talking about, then you would go, well, that's even more the reason why Tyler was able to get on that roof and take that shot. It's even more of a reason of why he was able to do what he did. That goes in favor of the prosecution. Now, if you're on Tyler's side, maybe you don't want that shown. Maybe you don't want people to know what the security plan was. I can't make heads or tails of that, honestly. I mean, I said what I said just now. I think that makes a lot of sense, because I don't think this is going to impede any trial at all. And then also, I mean, just to bring up, and you know, it is a little legalese, but to bring up a fair trial here, right? This is not just a graphic. This is actually what it says. To interfere with enforcement proceedings or investigations, deprive a person of a fair right to a fair trial. It doesn't do any of that. Releasing that plan, it does nothing of the sort. You know what it would do, though? Again, if there wasn't much of a plan, it would set people on fire for how terrible Charlie's security was. And again, it would be like, at a certain point, and I've talked about this before, at a certain point, you have to move away from incompetence. And you have to look at, you know, it's like a husband who doesn't want to do laundry. So he does it once and he messes it up. He does it again, he messes it up, mixes the whites with the, you know, he messes things up, he's shrinking things. If he does it 40 times badly, you have to eventually go, hey, are you doing this on purpose? What's going on here? This is not incompetence anymore. I've shown you how to do this a bunch of times. These guys have been through so many events with Charlie. Again, I don't want to get stuck on the security a little bit. Let's play Sabby talking about this whole thing, because she thinks this is very, very, very strange.
The applicants answer standard questions about time, place, and a description of the event. However, we noticed there is one question not asked on the form: whether organizers need any police protection.
He is saying that question, according to the application that they have received, did not have that question on the form. Does everybody hear this? That with this particular event, this reporter is saying that the police protection question was not on the application form. That is unusual. From my experience, that is unusual, especially considering the fact that the event speaker is a public figure. Guys, I've been doing this for a long time. I worked at universities for over 10 years. I worked at different schools. So I worked at MIT, I worked at Boston University, I worked at Northeastern, I worked a little bit temp at Harvard, but I've worked at different universities, and I'm here to tell you something here is not right. Why is it that all of a sudden something that is a standard for events at Utah Valley University is not present on the form for this particular event. That is very weird. And remember when the shooting happened, one of the questions that I did have was, okay, where was security? Where was campus security? This is just unheard of. Guys, when I worked at MIT, Matt Damon was one of the commencement speakers. When Matt Damon came to speak for graduation, there was security everywhere. And it's not just someone who's a celebrity. If you're a public figure and you're speaking at a university, security is provided. So something here is off. Wait till you hear this part.
That's a standard inquiry at, for example, University of Utah events. Speaking of police, UVU has denied Fox 13 News' request for a copy of the Kirk rally security plan. The university is citing the provision in state records laws keeping confidential, quote, security measures, end quote.
Okay, so they have denied a copy of the security plan. So you can see it here. Access is denied under the following grammar provisions. So here's the thing. They feel as though this could hurt the investigation. So here we go, right? Okay. One of two things is happening here. Either they're not providing that security plan information to the news station there. One, because there wasn't a security plan, or two, because there's something there that they don't want reported. There's no way getting around this, ladies and gentlemen. That information should be readily available. And
Yep, that is ding, ding, ding. It has to be one of those two things. Honestly, there's nothing else that it could be. If you've never heard of this lady's channel, Sabby Sabs, some people have asked me, some person asked me to debate her. I don't do debates. I think debates are, I'm not going to, listen, love Charlie, love when I see some debates, but I think debates are silly. I really do. You're getting all snarky. You're going up to somebody, you're sitting down as a guy, and you're prepared to just get really snarky with someone because you have different opinions. I don't like that. I don't like the energy of that. I really don't. I like friendly conversations. I would have her on the podcast though. I would love to have her on the podcast and talk about some of this stuff because we've been coming up together. Honestly, I remember when she was at like 50,000 and I was like at 60, and then she passed me. And then, now she's at 280. She's doing her thing. But yeah, there's something going on. There's something really going on. If you're a fan of hers, get into her comment section and tell her about me. Mention me, and we'll make this this podcast happen. Ian Carroll might be on the podcast soon. We might talk about some things. Valhalla VFT, hopefully. I'm pushing for it. So, great things happen when you guys do things in the comment sections. So thank you for that. But there has to be something going on. It's one of the two, like she said, either something they don't want you to see because of the implications it will have. And this is what I think. And, there could be a combination of things, right? You put on your tinfoil Speedo. I think it would have implications towards the security team, possibly implications towards the campus police, possibly. Not sure about that, but definitely implications towards the security team. People would just be like, I'm done. Like, what am I supposed to do here? I watched you guys go down and there was no blood on your hands. I watched you guys move a body that you probably shouldn't have watched. That you shouldn't have moved. I watched you guys not take a trauma bag from an EMT who was two of them that were standing there, and one of them was like a vascular access technician when you had a vascular issue going on with your friend. I've seen too much. And then you find that, and then you actually find this out, that they just said, no, we don't need any police, blah, 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 blah. It would just be too much. And again, the weirdness with Utah in general. It's very weird, that place. I didn't realize how weird. My wife watches, Housewives. You ever hear of like Beverly Hills Real Housewives? There's Real Housewives of Utah. And they're Mormon ladies, and they're all wild and crazy. And And it's very, you, I only learned that it was like a Mormon place through that show. And I thought it was just a little section of them, right? But apparently it's just everything, like everywhere. That's just how it is there. And it seems like they really stick together, right? Christians do stick together in a sense, but them more so than others. So it really and then I gotta always bring up the fact that there's a lot of recruiting from the agency that goes on in that place. So, and me and my wife were actually talking about this. So that means you are more than likely, especially with the percentage of the agency that is from that place, right? You are more than likely going to know someone. If you're just campus police, if you're just a student, if you're just a guy, you're more than likely going to know someone that knows someone who's in the agency, or you know someone that's in the agency, or you know someone that's a contractor of sorts. Like it's just that type of place. And in retrospect, looking back, not a good place to be if you're someone like Charlie Kirk. I mean, a lot of people don't want to, a lot of people push back on this. Some people don't. They understand, but he was like MLK. He was like MLK Jr. He really was. And a lot of people maybe like, you don't like the rhetoric. It was different in that way. He really was. He was that type of figure where he was going around, he was rallying people together, he was making a difference politically. He would change the landscape just with his words. He was getting the ear, which, this is actually more than what MLK did. He was getting the ear of the president. His words would impact what the president thought about things. It's just, and if you're that kind of guy, and I'm actually going to do an episode about this because of some stuff that Candace talked about. But when you're that type of guy, look back into MLK. He was being followed all the time. Candace is talking about that plane. I'm going to talk about this more. Candace is talking about that plane being around Charlie all the time. Everywhere he touches down, some military plane touches down. Look into MLK. They were doing the same thing. Malcolm X, they were doing the same thing. They were just following these guys around, tracking them, keeping tabs on them. George Carlin, even George Carlin had a file on him where they were keeping tabs on him. Like, I mean, for sure, Rogan, for sure they're doing that to Rogan. He's more surrounded than Charlie ever was. He's constantly surrounded. I mean, so it's just nuts. It's just nuts. But it begs the question. It really begs the question. What do you think this was all about? What do you think happened here? Sabby's saying that this has to be asked. And when you hear that she worked at a university, she was working around this particular thing of, it wasn't like she was like an assistant teacher and she's talking about this stuff. She was in I want to say administration. I hope I'm not speaking out of line there, but it was something around that. Advisor. She was an advisor. So she had to deal with stuff like this, knowing about events, knowing what was going to happen, knowing what type of paperwork had to be filled out. That was something she knew about. And for her to say that this just doesn't make any sense, what was going on? What part of this isn't weird? From the shot to the wound to the security to the actual person who's allegedly responsible, the crowd, even the crowd is weird. They didn't all have their cameras out. We haven't seen 98 different videos of this. How have we only seen 3 angles? How does that happen? And then I got people sending me emails talking about it was all a hologram. And without 98 different videos, I got to just go, I don't know. You know what I mean? People were saying, that's why they took the camera in the back camera down. That's why they took it down. It was a hologram. And now it's getting hard to argue. It's getting hard to argue that now. See what you did, crowd? And then there's some people in the crowd. There's one guy who actually he ended up deleting his video. He was talking about it, and he ended up deleting his video because they actually called him, and I wouldn't say that they threatened him, but he felt, it's just like if the agency called you right now, just your phone went off and they were like, "Hi, how you doing?" You'd be like, "Oh," you'd feel like it was threatening because you feel like there's no reason for them to be contacting you, right? You feel like they only contact people that they're trying to get. And that's how this kid felt. So after he got the call, he ended up deleting some videos he made about the situation. Very weird. Very, very weird. And he's not the only one that has reported doing that. It's just all. And then there's the one kid who was trying to tell the story. I remember I sent this video to Jesse on Fire. There's one kid that was trying to tell what he saw, and then I actually have to find that. It might be gone by now. But there was that one kid. He was like, "This is what I saw," and it kind of didn't make any sense. The guy who spoke on Charlie Kirk. I don't even know what to put to find it. He was just one kid, and he was like, "This is what I saw." Nah, it's not going to pop up. It's not going to pop up. That's the other thing with this. As so much comes rolling out, that you really have to save things. You really, really have to save things. And then how weird was it that this kid popped out of nowhere? Name's like Braylon or something like that? Charlie has a very distinct face. For you to just look like Charlie? What? How do you look like Charlie? Little bit, Very distinct face he has. And then this guy pops up. Name's Hollyhand. Braylon Hollyhand. And he has exactly the same font as the Charlie Kirk show. And he just pops up. And this isn't like somebody didn't put this here. This is not a meme that they're doing. This was him getting interviewed on a news outlet about Charlie being passed away. And this was a face he had on. It was so weird. Even Officer Tatum was like, "I like that kid. I don't know why y'all so upset about that kid. That kid right there, I think he is solid. He is a solid conservative. I think there's nothing wrong with him. He is on the up and up." Yeah, I made fun of the way a black guy talks. Yeah, I can do that. I'm allowed. So I'm allowed, okay? It's fine when I do it. For anybody listening right now that's not looking at the screen, I'm black. It's your first time listening and you're not looking at the screen right now. I'm a black guy, okay? You can believe me. Oh, man. When I would go on stage, I'd always have this joke about, because I'm always wearing hoodies and stuff. So it's like I look like my name's Dwayne, but I sound like I'm Mark from accounting. I would always say that. Black people didn't like it. White people loved it. They were like, "He does sound like Mark from accounting." He does, actually. I know a Mark from accounting. I do. He sounds like him. He does. I like Mark. But yeah, it's just a whole bunch of weirdness. But anyway, that interview with the kid, he was basically just trying to tell his story. And he was a part of Turning Point, it looked like. I shouldn't say he's probably a part of that chapter, not like the direct company that Charlie was running, but he was a part of the school chapter. And he's trying to tell his story. And then all of a sudden, another kid who's clearly older than him rolls up on him and is like, "Stop." And he like grabs him. And he's like, gets aggressive with him, really aggressive. It's nuts. I wish I could find it. You know what? I'll put Charlie Kirk witness. And I guess my point for that interview There you go. And I guess my point for that is just, you know, the amount of weird stuff going on in this case is just so much. Yeah, I can't find it. It's gone. I don't want to be that guy to be like, they scrubbed it, but did they? Because it looks like it's not here. Oh, whoa, this is the same kid. Oh man, I've never seen this. Hold on a second. This is the same kid. Oh, wow.
Standing for.
Okay, so I can show you this. Look at this. Look at this. There's two of them. Okay, so this is his first interview. All right, so this is what happens to him when he tries to report on everything.
Probably the third row in the bottom. I saw hit. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
Like, look at this. Like, just this random turning point guy gets kind of violent with the kid. Like, there's no need for this at all. Like, not even a little bit. Look, and then another guy comes. And then Candace reveals in an episode, he just goes, we're not doing this. But it's like, who are you? Who are you to say he's not doing this? And Candace actually revealed that this guy is a Mormon also. Yeah, she revealed that in an episode. I don't know if it was her last one or the one before that. It might have been maybe 3 episodes back, but she revealed that this guy's a Mormon. Now, there's another clip where he's uninterrupted.
Kirk.
Let's see. So he actually recorded another one.
I saw Charlie Kirk get shot. He collapsed in his seat. He fell over to the side. He was carried off. He had blood on his arms. He had blood on his shirt. He was dragged off and carried out of the venue. There was a gunshot that rang out.
You okay?
I'm not okay. I saw someone get shot today.
Question. Yeah, dumb question.
I saw Charlie Kirk get.
Doesn't it sound different? Doesn't it sound different from the first thing he said? Doesn't it sound different? He's like, he slumped forward. And then the other one was he fell back. I don't know. That was kind of weird. I did not plan on playing that at all because I didn't think I'd find it, but little weird, different story, but also at the same time, you know, as much as I'm just sitting here in a tinfoil Speedo, okay, I'm just tinfoil from the waist down, okay, believe me, you don't have to believe me, but it's true. As much as I wanna be charitable is all I'm saying. And I want to say, oh, this guy here, he's just shocked and like now he's coming to his senses. So now his story is different because he's remembering more. His memory's been jogged. His memory's been jogged by a guy who comes up to him and roughs him up. That's how his memory got jogged. Just that happens every once in a while, you know? Sometimes you just need a little, just get your memory going, right? But that's what's going on with the document that was recently released. We do not know what is going on here. Why did Charlie's company get a different form than every other company or, you know, event or public figure that was going to speak at this school? Why did he get a different form? Very interesting stuff. Anyways, guys, just wanted to bring that to you. I'm out of here.